this fixed, or people will complain.
Ow.
And then
Okay, that's not right. What did I do? I did it wrong. Of course I did. There it is. Okay, I got you. I got you, Charlie.
I don't know, it seems lighter in here today. It's not as dark.
Yeah, it does. I'm gonna hang up, Charlie, because I'm getting echoes.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Guys, give me a second. I am trying to get everything set up. Okay. So today we are going to start off by me. Oh, I can't yet. I forgot. And I call myself a YouTuber. So this week was an off week again. We are doing our stats for the week, and I forgot to do it. So we have 5 videos, 6 shorts, 2 live streams, and 2 posts. 1.7K came in to see me, and we got 2 new subscribers. So to those 2 new subscribers, thank you. Top 3 videos this week, no surprise. Organism of the week, giant squid, whale tails, and 2 groups of whales. Out of all of the videos y'all could watch, those are the ones you choose to watch. Okay. We have 14 likes, 13 shares, and 2 comments. Where do you think? I'm going to give you 5 countries, and you tell me which one you think is correct. Let's play a game. What's the second most popular location your viewers are watching from? Is it A, the UK? Is it the UK, Canada, Mexico, Hong Kong, Indonesia, South Korea, United States, Germany, or Vietnam? What do you think? And also, while I'm thinking about it, you think it's the USA? It is not. But I'm going to start a poll. And then I promise after this, I will get into the videos or into the topic. Okay. Are you ready? So, the stories that I'm going to be reading from today are my own pieces that I wrote. Sorry they were not written for you guys. These are stories written for my book. I am going to be reading them to you in hopes that it's a little bit of free advertisement. I will post when I actually publish, but for now, yeah, enjoy. This is Crossroads. And if you are not into the Greek myths, this story may completely go over your head, but I'm reading it anyway. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm reading. Devin is 25 years old, and he lives a really good life out in the country. Every night after dinner, and after his food has settled, he leaves his house and walks for 2 miles. During the winter, he walks on a treadmill, and during the spring and summer and fall, he goes out and he walks on the streets because it's safe. And he tries to use different routes each night. Tonight's path starts between 2 farms, but quickly changes into swampland and forest. Most nights, he rarely sees anyone, and he knows that tonight won't be any different. As he starts to walk, he passes by a couple of cars. As they pass him, he's reminded of why he wears his vest. It's out of safety. These streets have no streetlights, so when it's dark, it's dark. His experiences out walking have always been good. He's always felt safe. However, there are places where he won't walk, and it's out of concern for his safety. Tonight's route, though, is perfect. The route will allow him to see wildlife and offer him some scenery to look at as he walks. Today's course will start in the light and will end in darkness. Sure enough, as he moves along the route, he sees deer, hears an owl calling out from the trees, and hears frogs. The wildlife has been a nice treat. It's peaceful out, and he loves it. It gives him a chance to think, which is one of the reasons why he does these walks. All this peace that he feels is about to change. I am reading stories from a book that I am hoping to get published. These are my own writings. So with that, I'll get back into the story. As he walks, he nears an intersection, but he is not alone. A dark figure is moving towards Devon. No one has ever shared his walks with him, so this figure is a bit odd. It carries a staff and wears a robe. As the figure moves closer, it is evident that the figure is female. The question is, where did she come from? Because the nearest home is about a mile away. She doesn't seem tired or winded, and she is moving closer to him. She is dressed in black robes, making her pale skin stand out even more. She says nothing to Devon as she comes closer to him. The figure does, however, keep her distance. As they approach the intersection, the figure slows her speed. When Devon crosses the intersection, he turns towards it. Before his eyes, the female figure who had walked with him for such a short distance vanished the minute that she reached the crossroads. He was stunned at her abrupt disappearance. Thinking it must have been a ghost, Devon was a little freaked. Would he even be more freaked out if he knew the truth about his walking companion? Perhaps he would be more afraid than he has ever been in his entire life. The truth is even stranger than he thinks, for his companion on the road tonight was a Greek goddess. She walks the crossroads, sometimes alone, sometimes with a big black dog. Tonight, though, she walks alone. Perhaps he could have picked a different route. What he also doesn't know is that she was keeping him safe. Safe from what? He will never know. But it was there, and it was watching him closely. It was waiting for a chance to strike, which would have sent him far into the spirit world. He had ancestors back in the past who worshipped this goddess. This is why she appeared before him, and he is constantly watched over. He is, and always will be, watched over. So that was Crossroads. Next up, I'm going to read one of my favorite stories. maybe. So this next one is called a Civil War, or sorry, Civil War Ghost. A few years into what eventually would be known as the Civil War, my younger brother and I enlisted. My brother was 19 and I was 21. We had seen many battles and saw much death as we moved from place to place as we fought against the enemy. I guess we were doing what was expected of us, but I was losing my heart in battle. It was the eve before a major battle. A letter arrived in camp for me. It came from my beloved. She was going to be giving birth to my baby, and I decided that I needed to see my little one. I planned my exit on the eve of that great battle. Grabbing my belongings, I headed for home, even though I knew that the army would come for me. I had to try. Leaving my brethren in arms was wrong, but I departed anyway. I didn't get very far, maybe a mile away from where my comrades were camped, when two soldiers wearing my uniform gave their warning and then took aim with their guns. My mouth opened, and I tried to explain why I had left, hoping the men would understand my need to leave. As my mouth began to move, their guns fired, and I was hit in the legs and also in my stomach, and one lucky ball hit my heart, while another one hit my head. I fell backwards, hitting myself on a nearby tree. My body crashed into the mix of hickory and oak leaves. I bled out across the leaves, the dying leaves. I cried out or attempted to cry out, but they lacked sympathy. And under their watchful eyes, I passed into the next life. I'm not sure how it happened, but I woke up at home amongst my family. As much as I tried to talk to them, my voice must not have been loud enough for them to hear, and yet I could hear every word that they spoke. I wish their voices were silent, though, because they called me a coward, a traitor, and that I wasn't fit for heaven. I watched as my mother spit on my body, as my father and my uncles dug my grave within the family graveyard. My father, the man I thought would never say or do anything against me, spit on my body as flies visit my corpse. I stood guard over my body throughout the night, and in the morning, they finally got around to dumping my lifeless body into the grave. Flash forward 154 years, everything in my life has vanished. My family, my girlfriend, my wife. It's supposed to be wife, not girlfriend. I gotta fix that. And my child are all gone. Everything that was is gone. The furnishings of my parents' house have completely vanished, except for a few scattered pieces. My death is rarely talked about amongst the living, and when it is discussed, it's usually around Halloween time, when people come to see my trapped spirit rise from the ground. I become a tourist attraction, a passing curiosity, something to be seen and scared of at the same time. Families have come and gone from the old family house. Most only last a few months. It seems they don't want to spend time in a house that is home to a ghost. A part of me wishes that they would stay, so that the home itself would be watched over, but also so the home would have some life in it, besides the occasional mouse. I hate that my presence causes people to run. I wish they could see me and not give up on the home. It hurts even more when those coming into the home have children, because I know that at some point my ghost will cause the child to cry. Their wails cause me to shake in despair. In despair. Anyway, that. I never got to hear my child's cries or see my offspring smile. Now, as a trapped spirit, I can't bring happiness to anyone. Am I to be punished for all time because I wanted to see my child? I have not heard stories of my death. I do not know what the living say about me or what they have said about my death. All I know is that every day at the setting sun, the sounds of gunfire echoes across this place, and I am forced to walk to my grave, made to kneel before that barren patch of earth. It fails to get sunlight by day, and yet with the rising of the moon, it seems to be bathed in moonlight. I too am bathed in that same light. Once I am allowed to raise up from the ground, I make my way to the house, where I make my way to a picture, a quiet reminder of what my family used to look like. All the pictures of me have been locked away in some chest that sits in the attic, simply gathering dust. I imagine that the mortals believe the box is cursed. I wonder if within that box sits pictures of my child. I walk the house and the grounds, hoping that somehow the chains that tie me to this place may be cut. Sadly, I doubt that I will be allowed into the gates of the kingdom. I am doomed, like some foul creature, to wander this hall and the grounds for all time. Maybe, perhaps, when this fear melts away, I might be free. Free to hug my family, free to stand proudly as a father and husband. If there is any justice in this world, the men who took my life will be blessed. All this time spent in death has taught me to give repentance to those who have hurt me, who claimed my soul in the dark. Now, I want only to walk the lighted path back home. And that is Civil War Ghost. Sort of a moody story. Perhaps not my best work, but I like it. I am going to read one last story with y'all. This one, just going to say, is much darker than the last two. And also a little bit violent, so if you don't like that, this is a good time to leave, if you must. Huh. Well, that is odd. Hold on. Okay. So this is my favorite story. The one I'm most proud of. I originally wrote this one. Are you there, Carol? Okay. I didn't notice when Billy left. This is Count Dracula's journal. Anyway, my story begins on an archaeological expedition site to discover more about Vlad Tepes. In preparation for a special museum exhibit on him, my name is Keith Fisher, and I am working deep within the castle's basement in the room that we have labeled Room 1. There's 10 rooms that we know of, and who knows how many more might be down here. Most of my time is spent shifting through layers of dirt and artifacts to find clues about the man who lived here. I'm hoping to find anything that might have been missed by previous expeditions. Any objects worth having in these rooms come from a time period of 1440 to 1476. As I'm combing through room 1, the temperature suddenly drops and I find myself feeling cold. As the cold settles over me, one thing is sure, I am not alone. Someone or something has taken my hand and is directing me to a dark corner of the room. You don't have to believe me. You might even call me crazy. But you aren't here feeling the pressure on my hand. You aren't feeling the invisible fingers that are gripping my own fingers. The force, this invisible being, has led me to the southern wall of the room. I feel some urgency and begin searching the wall for something, but I have no clue what that something is or what its importance is. As I search the wall from one corner to the next, I discover something in the western corner of the wall. About halfway down the wall, I come across the block that lacks any mortar. There is enough of a gap that I'm able to work my fingers between the rest of the stones and this loose stone. Slowly, I pull the stone from its space, and when it's almost free from the wall, I pull it out and then lift it up and out. Placing it on the ground, I return my search to the now empty hole. The stone has a space behind it, and as I search with my flashlight, I see what has to be some old manuscript. All I know is someone went through great difficulty to hide this book. There has to be a reason for the book to be hidden here, and I hope to discover why the book was stowed away inside the wall. When my fingers touch the book, I feel a spark of electricity jump from the book to my finger. I feel odd, as if the book now has some power over me. I can't explain why, but I feel the need to hide the book away. I blink for a second there. Any other time, the find or artifact would be recorded in great detail. This time, however, I go against my training and hide the book amongst my tools and notebooks and retire to my room. In my room, I set the book down on my desk. Putting on a pair of gloves, I sit at my desk and open the tome to the first page. The minute my hands touch the cover, that same cold feeling that I felt back in room 1 invades my room. Someone or something is not only in my room, but it's standing in back of me. It feels as if a pair of hands are resting upon my shoulders, holding me in place. I try to close the book and even consider returning it to room 1 and to its original space, but I swear I just heard some phantom voice saying, "Keep the book here and read it." I find myself overcome with the full force of whatever is in this room with me. It feels as if this force is breathing down on me, compelling me, slow down and read it. I am scared and I don't know what to do, so I listen to the voice. I am Lord Dracul, once the ruler of this kingdom, but now I am an undead creature. I am more powerful than any human ever has been or ever will be. I was not bitten by any vampire. My transformation was done by the church for crimes against the church and humanity. I was imprisoned and chained deep within my own castle. They locked me away from anyone in my castle. On the 4th day, a guard, once loyal to me, unchained me and led me away to the torture chamber. My torture chamber. Here, a member of the church's clergy announced sentencing upon me. With his last words, the change started to take over all my body. My flesh burned as if my whole body was engulfed in some invisible flames. My upper jaw felt as if 2 daggers were digging their way through my gums. The pain was so intense that I blacked out. I remember thinking that if I survived this wretched pain, I would send the priest who cursed me straight to the underworld and deliver him to the Lord of Darkness myself. When I awoke, the fire within me that had been burning was quenched, and I felt a hunger within me. Somehow, I knew where to get my sustenance from, and I knew that I would need to kill in order to get it. Oops. I knew that I would need to unalive in order to get it. I awoke knowing that I was no longer human, and yet somehow the sentence that the priest gave me changed me, made me better than even him and my men. A fool came to check on me. He arrived armed with a torch. Lucky for me, the sun no longer ruled the sky, and I was free of whatever chains it imprisoned me with. For now, I felt stronger. Almost on instinct, my body began to dissolve into a mist, and he found that my physical body no longer appeared in the room he entered. Faster than a wolf, I was upon him. I set my fangs into his neck, puncturing it. After they bit into his neck, I could feel them retreating into my gums, but this time they were painless. As I feasted on his blood, I felt myself gaining even more strength. No longer was I just a beast. Now I was a force to be reckoned with. I'd become a beast above that of even the bears or the wolves that hunted in the surrounding forest. He would be the first of many to succumb at my hands. But I would save one man, one very important man, for a special form of unaliving. Between the time that I first entered the world as a vampire to my first unaliving, I have learned much. Some things that I've learned have been painful, while others have proven to be very helpful indeed. I've learned that a simple crucifix can cause me to feel pain. I've learned that I can control the creatures who share the darkness with me. I have learned that I can take other forms other than the mist. The same creatures who share my world can become my new form in the blink of an eye. Entering other buildings cannot be done unless I am invited by someone who lives within the building. The mind is also mine to be toyed with to some degree. I also have other skills as well. Over the space of many nights, I will turn the man who transformed me into this beast. I will make him my toy, my slave, and I will do so because I can. His place in this world will not protect him. As a new night comes upon the world, I awake and fly out into the world as an owl. I fly to the place where I can find this priest, a place where he must cross paths with me. I watch carefully for him to appear in my line of vision. Finally, he approaches, and I descend to the ground. Faster than he can blink, I appear in front of him as the man that he killed. Good evening, sir. Do you not recognize me? The priest stares at me in disbelief and reaches for something within his clothing. Knowing he must be reaching for some kind of holy symbol, I grab his arm and break the bones within it. I stare into his eyes. Do you see what you have done? You have made me better than I was in life. You, however, you shall be made to be a lesser being. You will not be killed or turned. I will make you not in my image. Instead, I will cause you to be mine. He is crying out, and I care not for his pain. With one arm, I bring him up from the ground, and then open my mouth, and I feel my canines descending from their sheaths. With one thrust of my head, I force my fangs into his neck, and then they return back into my gums. I feed just enough to drain away some of his strength, and enough to cause him to obey. He may fight against my hold on him, but in the end, he will either serve me or he will perish. There can be only one master here. I leave him a crumpled form in the middle of the street, and then take my leave, returning to my sanctuary. If you've been reading thus far, I will allow you to rest. You will and can sleep, and then arise in the morning to continue whatever life you are living. But come the first rays of the moon, you must read from these pages again. Goodbye, mortal. As Keith closes the book, he is more tired than he realizes. When his head touches his pillow, sleep comes to him instantly. In the morning when he wakes, Keith can barely get out of bed. But after showering, he finds his strength has returned enough to allow him to go to the dining room. He works in the room where he found the book, making sure to follow all the standards. None of his finds are quite like the book, but that is okay with him. He's still not sure what happened last night. Perhaps he dreamed all of it. Maybe he didn't see the vampire kill the priest. Perhaps the man was not cursed in front of his eyes. The problem is, he was wide awake. If it wasn't a dream, then what was it? He doesn't understand, but something happened in his room. What happened in the room last night? He was tormented by whatever the force was in his room. And at the end of his shift, and after eating dinner, Keith returns to his room. When he is in his room, he is immediately overcome by the invisible force. It hits him hard, and it feels as if he is turned around and pointed in the direction of the book. He tried to stand against it, to battle its will, but he's failing. Slowly, Ever so slowly, his feet move towards the direction where the book rests. When he reaches the spot, his hands are moved to the book, where his hands are forced to open it up. Instantly, he begins to feel weak, and he feels the wear on his body. Keith quietly opens the book. Fear grabs at his heart as he feels the force coming closer to him. As it stands over him, he begins to read the words inscribed by Lord Dracul. You have no doubt been feeling weak since finding the book, but let me continue telling you about the priest. Once bitten on the neck, Keith feels the invisible hand tighten its grip on his neck. He stops reading the page, the force releasing its hold on his neck. Read! The force is loud in his ears. His neck is searing with pain. Then he feels the fangs. They feel like knives pressed up against his skin. His eyes go back to the page, and he begins to read. The fool became my puppet. I have never had protection from the church. I now have protection from the church, and I am free to create my spawn, free to spread my blood amongst the living. I will someday rule over an army of vampires who will sweep across the known world, and all the living will serve us. We'll become their masters, but first, I must secure a place for rest. My castle, my fortress, shall be my tomb. I will rest in its bowels amongst the dead of my prisoners. Their bones shall surround me. Their bones shall surround my sleeping place, a place where my servant has saved for me. He paid for my coffin to be moved from my old dwelling to the prison for my sweet, sweet coffin. Soon I will take a wife, and she shall be eternal, or at least immortal. Enough about me. I want to talk to you. Just as that priest is my slave, you are my slave. If you are reading this book, I have been set free from my curse. A curse I never asked for, to begin with. However, it is something that I have grown to love. I was human, but I died a human and was reborn into the world of the night. I will remain in the world for the night and this night. And I'm telling you that the invisible force you've been feeling is me. I'm reaching out to you through my blessed book. I write this book with my own blood, giving this book my life. As you read these pages, you take steps towards becoming one of me. You have no hope ever. You have no hope ever from escaping me. Instantly, he is trapped in thought. Is this creature right? Is Keith becoming a vampire as he reads this book? There has to be a way out of this hell, a way to vanquish the demon in the book. This has to be Keith's mission. The question is, how do you destroy a creature that is already dead? How do you win that war being fought for your own soul? As if knowing Keith's own thoughts, the book's words and the force reach out, as if they knew what was on the mortal's mind. Sadly, if Keith cannot figure out this puzzle by the time he reads the book tomorrow, all his world will vanish within his last words, and Count Dracula wins from the great beyond. You think your mortal will is stronger than the will of one as ancient as mine? You are a fool. I am stronger than you in every way. Your death will give me new life. Now, mortal, keep reading. Keep reading this book. I am Dracula, and you are my servants. You shall all be my servants. Now rest, and forget all that you have read. From the words that the master wrote, feels something. Keith feels himself getting tired. He grabs a hold of a silver cross in one hand and rests his weary body upon his bed. He forgets almost everything that he has dreamed except one small thing. It's one tiny thing that he must remember if he is to remain human, if he is to avoid dying. Somehow, amongst the night, he finds strength. In the morning when he wakes, he is free but very weak, free to think of life instead of death. In his room, a picture of his family reminded him there is life back home. He knows the stake cannot destroy this book or its curse. Silver might be effective, but in what form of silver would he need to wipe it from existence? Sunlight might destroy it, but the leather cover might protect it from the rays of the sun. Suddenly it hits him. Fire might destroy the book. He cannot turn away from his work. The book is left out on his desk, and when he returns to his room, he pulls out a surprise. He empties a can of lighter fluid onto the book, and then he lights his match. The force in the room as the match touches the book. Wait, sorry. Sorry, guys. I am reading, and my eyes are going. I'm losing my place. The force wakes in the room as the match touches the book. Instantly it catches fire, and it smokes. Keith feels the darkness disappearing from around him. He can feel the darkness draining from him. A scream can almost be heard. It burns slowly. It explodes. Instantly, whatever fragment of Dracula existed within that book is burnt away. Dracula's darkness can no longer live. Uh-oh. Big uh-oh. Oh, Dracula's darkness can no longer live within the book or within the world. Keith has freed himself from turning to the darkness, perhaps saving his friends and co-workers from being turned or killed by whatever darkness might have been unleashed. Anyway, guys, those are sneak peeks at a book that hopefully you will be able to buy on Amazon. It hasn't been published yet. I will post when I do. Hopefully you will check it out and buy it. Because, yeah, there's 44 stories, all written by me. All just as good as that last one. Some of them may even be better. Let me know what you think. Put your thoughts in the comments. Was it too dark? Should it not have been written? Let me know. I want to know. Yeah. So, Carol, what did you think of the 3 stories? Which one was your favorite? Which one would you have not read if you had a choice? Because you really didn't have a choice. Too much, anyway. Yeah, it is. Oh. Well, I had another story that I wanted to read, but I just couldn't think of how to finish it. So, there it is. So those were 3 stories that I've written myself. One of them was those stories were called Count Dracula's Journal, Civil War Ghost, and The Crossroads. There are a total of 7 different stories within that section. Yeah. And there are, like I said, a total of 44 different ones. Yeah, there are at least 4 other ghost stories within that section. All of them different. Yeah, but the ghost one, I was hoping to make into a longer story, but I decided against it because there were too many similarities with a movie that was put out by Hallmark, and I didn't want to get in trouble for copywriting, so I didn't, because I got to be good. We have, believe it or not, just 9 minutes. I did not think it would take that much time, but it did. And if you noticed, nobody came out of the closet. I gotta stop that joke. It is not cool. So Carol, you liked the ghost. Let me know in the comments which story was your favorite. Make sure you do that sometime today if you can. I appreciate it. Also, let me know where you're from. I'm from Northwest Indiana. You can put that in the comments too. I have no idea what is coming up for you lovelies next or Friday. I have no idea what's coming up after that. I do have some hopefully really good items coming up for you. Hopefully. I do want to do a Q&A eventually. If I make it to 300 subscribers before the end of November, I will do a Q&A if we can get more than 6 people to attend a Friday live. Don't forget, lives have switched from 5 to 6, and I am even considering possibly doing another live maybe on Saturdays. It looks like 6, 7, 8, and 9 are good opportunities. Let me know what you think. I don't really I think 3 is overdoing it. But I might switch. Tuesdays to Saturdays. We'll do a trial and see if Saturdays are good. But I do want to try that. Because it looks like the best time is really Saturday between 7 and 8. So that's a possibility too, but it's awfully early in the morning. I'm not sure my brain can even operate at that hour. But I hope that you find time this evening to indulge in a scary movie, but not the blood and guts stuff. That just doesn't work. Watch the old horror movies, because why not? Yeah. Remember to be kind to each other, because that's important. Also, never give up on yourselves, and always, as I always say, always keep learning, because that keeps the mind young. We have 5 minutes. If you have something that you want to see in live or hear me talk about for an hour, leave it in the comment section, and I will do my best to figure out how to do that. I still have to do I need to do a bunch of videos today. I need to do the research for them. So today's video may be, wait. I think today's video has already been posted. It will be Wednesday's videos. Yeah. Those will be posted later tonight. Both of them. There is not going to be a bonus video this week. That was a last week thing. Really cool video on the dodo has been posted. Lots of facts given. Do you like my drawings? Carol, do you like my drawings? Because that would greatly help my ego if people tell me that they like the drawings, because we all know the truth. Thank you, Carol. You're too kind. Also, if you come into the if you come into live, stay. Just saying. I'm going to pretend that I didn't see that and hope it was a trick of light, because I thought I saw something move in the closet within the last 4 or 5 seconds. Anyway, that's really scary. Not really. That doesn't bother me. Nope, it doesn't. I'm going to end early because I have work to do. Would you guys like to see a I can't think of what it's called. Would you guys like to see some of the babies from Planet Zoo as a bonus video? I could do that maybe. I will talk to you later. See you peeps in the next video. Goodbye.